Shema everyone, it's JonnyVR here with Doctor Who Flux overall review. Now that the series is fully aired, I just want to make a video like I've been doing the past few weeks with a few final thoughts about the overall story, because I did this with Series 12 and it seemed even more relevant now that Series 13 is aired as sort of a full story. So yeah, I've got a few things that I want to talk about in this sort of overall review. As always, be sure to click like and subscribe for more Doctor Who videos, Big Finish reviews, Time Lord Victorious reviews as well. Check out our gaming channel where I've played all the recent Doctor Who games, and be sure to leave comments down below for what you think of Doctor Who Flux overall, and the any other things that maybe you picked up on a rewatch. Who knows? Also, check out my monthly series Who News for lots of Doctor Who updates, and stay tuned for my review of the special titled Eve of the Daleks on New Year's Day. So yeah, I think to start off, I'm going to talk about the one story thing, one story across 6 episodes, because that was the main selling point of Doctor Who Flux. That was Flux, because that's the thing that was different about it before from pretty much any of the other series since the show returned. Now, overall, I thought this was a good idea, when they first announced this, because what I thought about Chris Chibnall's writing is he's very much a standalone writer. When it was previous showrunners, you could tell that the other writers on the show knew what the overall story arc was. I didn't get that feeling with Chris Chibnall's writing. I felt like, especially in Series 12, only he knew about the Timeless Child story, and he didn't let anyone else know what it was, because in other episodes that were shown, like Orphan 55, the only reference to the overall arc was the fact that, yeah, as mentioned, the Doctor looks really mad about something or upset about something. So I don't think that the other writers sort of knew exactly what was going on with the Timeless Child arc. So with Flux being 6 episodes and almost fully written by Chris Chibnall, it seemed like a good idea for him, because he can just tell whatever story he wants, and doesn't have to rely on anyone else. It means that there's the feeling that there's less filler episodes. So again, Series 12, you had that opening 2-parter, which set the season. Everything you think you know is a lie. And then you had Orphan 55 and Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, which had nothing to progress that story. Then you had Fugitive of the Judoon, which again introduced a lot more things ready for the finale. But then you had Praxis and what was it, Can You Hear Me, which again didn't progress that story at all until the last 3 episodes sort of kicked it up a gear. So I do feel like the 6 episodes was a good idea for him, and for the most part it worked, right? I enjoyed the cliffhangers every week. It did get me excited about watching the show every week, which is really good. However, some of these cliffhangers were very easily resolved. You could say that with a lot of Doctor Who Flux. But these cliffhangers are easily resolved in Doctor Who in more ways than one. I just remember Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, the cliffhanger there, are they going to get them? And then they use River Song's squareness gun to blast through a bookcase and escape. It's been done before. So yes, the cliffhangers were easily resolved, but it's like that a lot of the time. But what was, for me, there's a lot of good mysteries in there as well. For example, I did enjoy Williamson just turning up here and there, speaking random stuff, and it did remind me a lot of Madame Kavarian, right, when she used to appear in those windows throughout Series 6 and say things that didn't make sense at the time as the episodes aired. So I thought, there was a good mystery to it. There was a good mystery, like, what is the Flux? What's the division? What's the Doctor's past life? The only thing is that because there was so many of these stories to tell all at once, that when they didn't give answers to a lot of them, it just, it's hard, okay, to think that looking back, right? You go back to the start of Doctor Who Flux to watch the series. They start showing the house, and they start teasing about the Doctor's past lives. And as a viewer who's already seen it, you just know that it's not going to come to anything. And maybe there's a plan, like, to do this in the final 3 specials under Chris Chibnall. But then if you open this up again, across 3 individual episodes, it's going to be I just don't think there's enough time. I just don't think it's a priority for the final 3 episodes. Maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe she'll find that watch again in the last 2 episodes, and then regenerate. Who knows? But I just feel like it would muddy the waters of those specials. Already the next special, Eve of the Daleks, looks like they're in a time loop apparently, so it already looks like a self-contained story. We have to wait and see how that goes. Maybe, but I just feel like it's not going to be picked up. Same with, like, for example, the devastation across the entire universe caused by the Flux. I don't think they're going to pick this up again in the specials, and if they do, like, what would be the point of that? It would just muddy the waters of those episodes. So, I just don't think, like, the answers, like, and this goes with everything in general, like the Timeless Child, and then he comes into Doctor Who Flux, teases a lot of answers, and then gets no answers. It's gonna be a hard one to rewatch all through that, knowing, like, up until this point, like, despite them saying, "Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna tease," nothing comes of it. Which is a shame. I feel like they maybe it should have prioritized like giving some answers, in the finale, or at least prioritizing storylines that would go somewhere. Yeah, I think the overall, like, 6-part story, like, it's punishes the viewer, right, because of the no answers, right? It seems good at the time. The first 5 episodes I really enjoyed, but in the end, the no answers was quite quite jarring. So overall, I like the idea. I like how it initially was, but again, in the end, it just doesn't quite stick it with the answers. Other things about Doctor Who Flux that I liked, the characters. I did think that the new additions were a lot better than characters from previous episodes, particularly probably because they had all the 6 episodes to say their lines, to develop. They weren't all like one character per episode. Particularly good examples of this are Carvanista. I really like his. I really like the Lupari as an idea. I've said this before. Species recall and all that. I think from the beginning, when he's introduced, you think he's the villain, and then he not only turns out to be an important character in the division for the Doctor as well, but throughout the whole series, protecting Earth, and then going on right up until the end when the Centaurans do what they do, and I think he does a really good job of portraying that right up until the end. He's exactly how you'd expect him to be in that situation, and he's a good mix of humor and seriousness. He'll take none of it from John Bishop. He as much as he wants to has to protect him, he also can't stand him. So I think he was a good character for this show. For Doctor Who Flux. Other characters that were I liked a lot were Vinda and Belle. I think their story, like a love story across time and space throughout the apocalypse, I thought that was they was some of the stronger characters, and I wanted them to like succeed. I didn't want them to like die or anything. I wanted them to get together. They did. Jericho as well, since his introduction in Village of the Angels. He's very memorable. The only thing is that he does get sidelined a little bit in the finale. But and throughout Survivors of the Flux, the 5th episode, he's sort of one of the 3 going around on their Indiana Jones quest. But his death for me was probably one of the most emotional deaths of the show under Chris Chibnall, because like I said in the review, the only Ko Sharmus's death in series 12, we didn't have any time. He like he said, the character wasn't developed. We had him only in 1 episode, so he was just gone by the end of it. At least with Jericho, he was introduced in Village of the Angels and as a good character, and he gets to continue in through the next episode, so that when he actually dies in the final episode, it's very I wasn't expecting it, and it's sad because there's nothing they can do for him, and so he just has to accept his fate. But these good characters, right? I'm going to remember them as good characters throughout Chibnall's, from the entirety of Chibnall's era. But this is also really bad for the companions, right? Because Yaz and Dan as a new companion, this series, he showed initial promise, right? I was really impressed with his debut in the Halloween Apocalypse. But then, again, him and Yaz, they don't get the development, right? They do take the back seat. They get separated from the Doctor a lot. And right at the very end, for example, like in the finale, when John Bishop who says, "You should have seen Yaz in the 3 years. She was amazing." We don't see enough of that. We don't see enough of the journey. We don't see enough of the 3 years. And it's complicated, and it's sad because she's been there 3 seasons now. And I do feel like other characters that were introduced in Flux in these 6 episodes became sort of more developed quicker, and it's a shame, right? Because they're the actual supposed main characters of the show. This is so while it's bad for the companions, I do think it's good for Jodie's Doctor. I think she did have a better season, with a few of these episodes. For example, Village of the Angels, War of the Sontarans, both of these episodes, where she is the Doctor by herself. There's some good stuff there, with Village of the Angels, how she has to frantically, keep everyone safe from this horde of angels that's attacking the house. Leaves for some really good confrontations with the Grand Serpent and with who was it, Tecteun in the Division. Yeah, she does get some good scenes as the Doctor, some really memorable moments, and even when she's trying to find out about Division, and she ends up becoming an angel. That's a great cliffhanger. That's probably one of the best moments, I think, of her era, is seeing that transformation. Again, cliffhanger was resolved quite easily, but it looked good, and and the thing is, not only the cliffhanger resolved easily, in my opinion, is fine. It's the fact that she didn't know anything. She lost all the memories to Division, apparently. So that's the shame about it. Villains this series. Again, I think introduced really well. Swarm and Azure, they did a really good job of showing just how powerful they are. When Vinder's trying to shoot them, and they just dodge every bullet instantly. When in the past, in the flashback, when Swarm completely disintegrates a passenger, which is filled with millions of people, just to prove a point. I think they were good villains, and they were. I liked how they were so smug and so they flaunt them around the place, taunting the Doctor. They were really good villains in that respect. They do get kind of sidelined in the middle of it, and by the end they're just taunting the Doctor, and it's just, the finale doesn't have enough room for everyone. See, and I did think they were good in the beginning. but again, it all comes down to how it plays out. Similar for the Grand Serpent, he was introduced, but he became a lot better in Survivors of the Flux. But then, in the finale, he became sidelined to be like someone who just interrogates the Doctor. And this is, although the scenes with her are really good, he's, it's just like, is that it? He's like under the Centaurans now. Like, and again, people who are wondering why infiltrate unit for all those years, was it solely for the Centaurans? Like, was he under the Centaurans' influence the whole time? Who knows? But the thing is, this is never addressed, and again, because there's not time in the finale for that. So the Centaurans, I thought, were a considerable threat in War of the Centaurans. In the finale, again, they show how threatening they can be. But it's interesting that they decided to have Centaurans sort of as the main villain in that finale, rather than like Swarm and whatnot. It's an interesting choice. That's the way they decided to tell the story. So yeah, I think overall I like the new design, and I think that it was good to see Dan Starkey back. And it's good to see threatening Centaurans. Will they come back for a while? Maybe not, And the Weeping Angels, again, I thought they were great. I think they did some great stuff in that in Village of the Angels, with how they showed how they portrayed like the tunnel, the hands coming out and then shaking the tunnel to try and get dust in their eye, to try and get them blink. There was lots of great stuff they did with the Angels in that episode. Finally, I'll talk about the Timeless Child stuff. Again, I thought they were gonna do something with it. It feels like he changed it with like when he changed things in the Timeless Children. It was a big change, but the assumption I think from everyone was that at least he was gonna do something with it, and then in the end he just doesn't. So to me, after watching Doctor Who Flux, it feels like he just changed it, because he wanted to or because he could, But, we'll have to see. In the final 3 specials, maybe this will be addressed, but, we'll have to wait and see for that. But at the end of Doctor Who Flux, it feels like the Timeless Child was a thing in Series 12, and it still is a thing in Series 13, and that was it, We saw some flashbacks, huge teases that we were going to find out about Doctor's past lives, but there wasn't enough room in Flux for that. Will there be enough room in the specials? I don't think so. It's going to be a strange one. The funny thing is I still think, despite all of these problems with the finale and how it was all brought together in the end, I think it's Chris Chibnall and Jodie's probably best series, which granted is not that much. I think it's a shame because I think this era in general was a bit of a it's some decisions that didn't work, like for example not to include classic monsters in at least one of the episodes in series 11, and then the whole changing everything in series 12, and not only that, in series 12 was like long and full of episodes that were supposed to fill the gap, didn't progress the story, and not only that, but those episodes weren't really well received by the fans. At least I think from what I've seen, most people, or a lot more people than throughout Doctor Who Flux, were enjoying it as it went on. But again, could he stick the landing? It was a shame. It was a bit of a miss in the end. It's hard to imagine going back and rewatching this, knowing what's gonna come. It's a shame. Anyway, there's 3 more specials left. I'll be doing reviews of them when they come out, so be sure to stay tuned for those. Let me know what you think about Doctor Who Flux down below. Anything about it, and maybe something you spotted, Easter eggs maybe you spotted when you've rewatched it. Leave a comment and stay tuned for my reviews of the upcoming episodes, and stay tuned for more Doctor Who videos in general. Check out our main channel at youtube.com/skybotgaming for lots of Doctor Who Let's Plays. And yeah, with all that said and done, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.